talking about the Israeli context on political and academic perspectives. זה היה בסדר לפני רגע. אוקיי. זה פחות נורא. בסוף זה יקרה. אוקיי, יש כמעט. תעשה לי אבל מסך כפול שגם אני אראה. או שזה too much to ask. בסדר, אז תפתח שם, אני אסתכל כאן. בסדר. אוקיי. Now the challenge is that I don't see it here, but let's do it. Okay, so here is the title, and as I was presented, my role now is the Vice Chair of the Council for Higher Education in Israel, so I will try to converge my talk into the role of the Council for Higher Education in this topic. And starting with some outlines or maybe an abstract, we are talking about higher education. In Israel, we are based on the higher education law, which is actually the law of the Council for Higher Education from 1958. And its first definition of higher education is a very strange definition, I must say. It says that higher education, including teaching, research, and science. This is the definition. Actually, we are working together with Mr. Mitzna on revising this law. We are not changing this definition. It has its special flavor now, so we keep it. Anyway, the important thing is that higher education has mostly two dimensions, the research and the teaching. When we are talking about research or science and research in the general frame, internationalization is very natural because research is basically global. All of us, we attend international conferences, we have our international scientific relationships, so we don't really need to talk about globalization or internationalization when we are referring to research. At least this is assumed, but I will say a few words about it. It is not as trivial. But on the other hand, teaching, even in higher education, is very much local. Language is one problem. Also, it is very different from one place to the other. And actually, Professor Rutgers started the Bologna process many years ago, and still it is not over. The harmonization of teaching is a big challenge. So, when we are talking about internationalization in teaching, we are facing these many challenges that are going to be discussed today. Also, there is a big difference from my point of view between what we call hard sciences and soft sciences. Soft sciences are naturally more local than hard sciences. Again, when we are talking about internationalization, these are two different aspects. And actually, my claim today is that while internationalization in the research aspect of higher education is very much bottom-up, when we are talking about internationalization in the teaching point of view, it needs to be a little bit more top-down. And that's where the Council for Higher Education has to get involved. So let me give you some background, at least to one of you who are not that familiar with it, about higher education in Israel. As of this academic year, we have 65 higher education institutions in Israel. 7 are the research universities. Then we have one, the Open University, and the rest are different kind of colleges. And if we look more carefully, what is the difference between the research universities and the others, and I refer this definition to what I said at the beginning about the mission of higher education. The way we see it in Israel, the research universities are actually dual-purpose institutions. while in other places like Germany, you have the Max Planck as a PROs, public research organization, and the universities beside as mostly teaching universities. In Israel, it was decided many years ago that we are not going to run public research organization parallel to the universities. We are too small for it. So within the research university, we have both institutions, both the higher education part, the teaching part, and the public research organization. Unlike the research universities, the colleges have only this part, the higher education institution. Of course, in colleges also, there is this research domain, because I don't believe that you can have high quality higher education without the research domain. You must have the professor at the front of the knowledge in their topic, and the only way together is by being active in research. But the role of the research universities is on top of it to keep up the basic science and the science which is needed for any modern country as a base to everything, high-tech industry and culture, keeping all values of society, etc., etc. So which are the 7 universities, the 7 research universities in Israel? Here is the list. You are familiar with all of them, and since our hosts are from Ben-Gurion University, make sure that you are here. And as you can see, all of them were established in the last 40 years and even more. But what more important is that 3 out of these 7 started before the State of Israel. Actually, 4 out of these 7 started before the law for higher education in Israel. So we have higher education before we regulated the higher education. And in the first part of my talk, I'm going to talk about the research domain of higher education, which is naturally mostly in this 7 research university. And the statement is actually very simple. We have a high level, very high quality scientific research in Israel. And I will convince you if you are not convinced yet, but there are several indicators to this fact, including some indicators like looking at the number of Nobel Prize, which is amazing. Actually, when I show this slide in international talks, people don't believe that all of it came from such a small place like we are. So this is one indicator for our great success in research on the high level international standards. If you look at publications, which is another indicator for the level of research, then Israel is in the 5th place. When we look at a certain period of 4 years, actually, if you look back in 30 years ago, 84 to 88, we were on the 1st place. So we are not maybe doing so great in a relative scale, but in an absolute still, it is quite impressive. If we look at in another indicator, which is the average citations per paper, then again, you can look at this chart, and Israel is definitely in blue. I mean, this is our color. The world is in red, and the OECD is the green one. So you see that during these 30 years or a little bit more, Israel started as the average in the world, and then we crossed it, and now we are better than the average OECD number. So putting it all together, and also you can add some common ranking like the Shanghai ranking, in which 6 out of the 7 research universities in Israel are in the top 500. Of course, Ben-Gurion University is there, don't worry. So putting it all together, as I said, we are doing quite well in research. And then we can ask how comes. And my next slide is going to say that it is very much related to the internationalization of research in Israel. From the very beginning of higher education in Israel, the leaders of this country understood that higher education is global. And we have some unique tools in our higher education system that, from my point of view, allow this achievement that you can see now. The first one is the standard of recruitment of new faculty members. Mostly in most research universities in Israel, in all fields, new faculty members are recruited only after they spend some time abroad, either as postdocs or did the PhD abroad. But when they come back to Israel, when they start serving as faculty member in Israeli higher education system, they already have their international connections. And this is a big asset for academic career. The second point, which is quite unique to Israel, it was started, as I said, in the beginning of higher education in Israel. It started definitely in the beginning of the State of Israel. We have a special mechanism for faculty members in the research university, all of them. They get, each one of them gets a yearly amount of money for international academic relationship. And this is not negligible sum of money. It's between $4,000 for a lecturer to about $8,000 a year for a full professor. And this money is allocated and allows each of the professors to go to conferences, to travel, to visit labs or colleagues or libraries around the world. So right from the beginning, it was accepted that internationalization is part of the job of a university professor. You should go abroad to maintain the international relationship. On top of it, we also have the sabbatical, which is also part of the job of each faculty member, which really encourage a university professor to spend time abroad, and most of them do it. So the second point is resources for international relations. The third point is that international visibility is required for academic promotion. This is very important. When a faculty member needs or wants to be promoted to a senior lecturer, associate professor, full professor, one thing which is required is international visibility. Without it, no one is promoted, so there is an incentive for faculty members to have an international profile. Again, this is to increase internationalization of academic level. And the third one, the fourth one, the last one, is that in Israel we have several international or bilateral foundations which are a major source for research funding. So in many cases, if you need money for your research, you better look for an international partner, because then you have more resources. So putting all of them together, 1, 2, 3, or 4, you see that basically we have a bottom-up approach for internationalization, which gives the people the connections, the resources, the incentives, and the motivation. And the results are what I showed before, very excellent research. Now we are moving to the more challenging part, which is teaching. As you can see in this chart, during the last 20 years, there was a big change in the Israeli higher education arena. From 20 higher education institutions in the 1990s, we were at the top, we were 67, which is more than 3 times more. The 8 universities, the 7 research universities and the Open University are still there. And what increased dramatically is the number of colleges, which are mostly higher education institutions, mostly focused in teaching. As you can see in this chart, the colleges really did a great job in increasing accessibility to higher education by allowing more opportunities to many people, but also a better access to the periphery. If you look at this map of Israel, the research university, the green triangles are in Jerusalem, in Beersheba, in the center, in Tel Aviv, and in Haifa, and the rest in the north, in the Galilee, in other parts of Israel, it is all full of colleges. So they really had other aspects of the mission, not only the teaching and a little bit of research, but also the social mission, which is not less important. If we look at some numbers, nowadays we have more than 300,000 students in Israel. You see the distribution here. Most of them are on a bachelor degree, some of master, and about 10,000 students on a doctoral level. All of these huge structures is governed by the, of course, by the government and the parliament, the Knesset, but in Israel, and this is quite unique, there is no direct connection between the government to the higher education institution, but there is a buffer in between. The buffer consists of two main entities: the Council for Higher Education, which is mostly responsible for regulation, accreditation, quality assurance, mostly from the teaching point of view. And then there is the Planning and Budgeting Committee, the PBC, which is headed by Manuel Trachtenberg, and it is mostly responsible for budgeting and planning, as its name stated. And there are two channels for budgeting. One is the direct budgeting to the budgeted institution, but the other one is the indirect funding, which is actually funding to some research foundation like the Israeli Science Foundation and others. And from this money, we get back indirectly budgeting for research, mostly in the research universities. But now we are coming to the next part of my talk, and we want to look in this structure and to see how we can help in internationalization of higher education every day, and mostly in time of crisis, which is our topic today. So, what I'm saying is that we need to go sometimes, we need to go top down. We cannot use only the bottom-up approach that I presented before. And the question is why? Why do we need to change from bottom-up to top-down? And first of all, because we moved from the natural internationalization of research to the less natural internationalization of teaching, which is, as I said at the beginning, very much local. And from this point of view, I see some key issues. The first one is very much related to the Bologna process, which is the harmonization of academic programs. As you know, in different countries, in different systems, the bachelor degree is very much different. Either it goes by large courses, like in the British system, or by small courses, and as in others. So if we really want to make it mobile, we need to look at harmonization, and you know about it probably more than I do. The other point is, I called it synchronization of tuition payment. Again, there are different systems in different countries, how you charge tuition, how much the student pay, etc. If we are talking about internationalization, if we want students to be mobilized, we need to take care of it. It cannot be solved bottom-up. You need to do things top-down. Then also, when we have students which are mobilized from one country to the other, they always need administrative support. They need help with visas, with housing, everything is there. All these problems are needed to be solved top down. And on top of it, number two, I said sensitivity to the political situation. And this is, as I said, the main topic of today. I think when we have a sensitive political situation, then we need joint efforts of the government, of the student unions, the student organization, of faculty members, of the parliament. We need to join forces because for me, boycotts and bans are unacceptable in the academic regime. So let's share our efforts to deal with it. And then also, in some cases, we need some action plans and initiative to facilitate globalization and internationalization. Okay, so the second question, if we said, okay, let's move from bottom up to top down, the question is how? And money is one solution, but not the only solution. I think the first step, which was done by the Council for Higher Education about 2 years ago, is a certain resolution which put together the framing of joint or double degree between Israeli higher education institution and European or other higher education institution. If you don't have these tools, if you don't know as a institution what do you need to do to get to your student joint or double degree, then you are stuck. And this is the role of the Council for Higher Education, to be a facilitator. And if there are any obstacles like this which are not solved yet, tell me and I promise to remove them. And this is very important because sometimes, as I say, money is not the key issue. Students are very much interested in joint and double degrees, and we need to give them the tools. And now the tool is there, which is very important. Also, as you probably know, the Council for Higher Education operates the Erasmus Plus programs in Israel. The office is in our building, and actually we have a representative here. We do it because it really is an important tool for internationalization of studies, and we put efforts on it, and we think it is important. Another topic which is on this slide is monitoring academic boycotts of Israel, both personal and institutional boycotts. Lately, I sent a letter to all higher education institutions in Israel asking them about if they got some reaction to the Tzuk Eitan operation last summer, if they felt any changes after this in the response to the international level of their activities. And to my surprise, most of them said that they felt nothing. I got, I think, 54 or 55 responses. And some did, especially by when they were talking about inviting guests from abroad to Israel. So the situation is not terrible, but we need to watch it. It's very important. And the last item here, increase funding for international research cooperation. This is a big carrot, it always helps, so we do it. And the last one is focusing on new international arena. Traditionally, Israel is very much looking at the US. The last 20 years, as Professor Rutger say, Europe is more in the focus. And the recent years, we are looking east, as many others, to China and India. So what happened during the last, what we call multi-year plan of the years 2009 to 2015? There were some action taken mostly by the PBC, the Planning and Budgeting Committee. First of all, the Binational Science Foundation with the US. The budget was increased. Also with the GIF, the German-Israeli Foundation, there was a budget increase. As you probably know, we became a full members in CERN, which is important scientific infrastructure, but again, it increased our internationalization in terms of research. Also, there is another international infrastructure actually in Jordan, which is called Sesame. So the funding of Sesame was approved by the PBC. Very important action was that Israeli joined the Horizon 2020. Again, I give credit to Professor Rutgers. He started the participation of Israel in the European R&D program in program, it was FP4. I think we joined in the middle of FP4. 5 was right from the beginning, but 4 was the first. And now, as you may remember, it was exactly last year. There were people in Israel that were not so happy about Israel joining the Horizon 2020, but luckily it was arranged. And the last issue is that looking into the East, we established new joint research with China and India, and there is some considerable money there. And not only research with China and India, also there is academic cooperation with China and India, and the main goals for this cooperation was enhancing the academic cooperation with China and India, creating a platform for globalization of the higher education in Israel, and strengthening Israel's academic position in the world. Actually, we have less crisis with China and India nowadays. The fields of cooperations were a joint research cooperation, as I mentioned before, postdoctoral fellowship, undergraduate and master scholarship, and summer courses. So that's what we did, and we are looking forward to do more in the future, and it is very important to get your consultants on what should be done. We will be happy to assist, to facilitate globalization. We think it is very important. Thank you.